Hey guys, Buckskin Dave here. Um, grab you a cup of coffee, and I'm going to work on this Damascus knife a little bit, and I'm going to load some shells. I'm still in the process of loading them 3855s, and I made a mistake. The bullet that I am shooting out there is a Lyman 375449. 375449. It's 264 grains with number 2 alloy. So that's what I've been shooting out of this gun. And I decided I like 3031 better, so I'm going to load the rest of these up with 3031. Anyway, this knife, let's talk about this knife. I made this knife. I put a curly maple, piece of curly maple wood on it. I think I've shown it to you. And it's what's called Damascus steel. And I have this is a beaver tail sheath that I made for it. I did a little research on Damascus, and this isn't really Damascus. This is really rollover steel. And it's made by, well, I'll get to that. Anyway, Damascus steel was steel that was shipped from India to Syria in the 15th, 16th century. And it was mined in India. It was called woot steel back then, W-O-O-T-Z. And this steel come out of this one quarry. And they used it mainly, it was real tough steel, real hard, tough steel, held an edge good. And it was used for like swords and that kind of stuff, weapons, different kinds of weapons. Well, there's been a big craze of Damascus, and I was researching it to see if there was any Damascus in the early America. And what I found out is that quarry in India actually played out crawling up on the 1700s and 1800s. So that steel wasn't getting made. I read this study from Purdue University on Damascus steel, and it was like made by a bunch of squints, so it gave me a hell of a headache. But what I got out of it is there was some impurities that they couldn't work out of that ore that they took out of that mine in India, and that's what made the Damascus steel. And they also did some more stuff on how they can recreate Damascus steel now, and did some studies on elements that they can add to steel, and it'll mimic those impurities that they couldn't take out of there. In the meantime, what is done here with the steel that we have is blacksmiths get, and like I say, I'm no expert on this. This is what I gathered from my research. Blacksmiths get different hardnesses of steel, and they weld them together. They get the billets and they weld them together. They hot weld them together, pound them out, roll them over, pound them out, roll them over to get what we're calling Damascus steel. But they're not using Woot's ore to make it, so they're not getting really a true Damascus thing, which is cool. I mean, it's just a pretty knife. A lot of people think they hold the edge better than other steels. Well, maybe cheap steels. If they would have been around in the 1700s, the steel that they were making knives at then, if they were making that out of Damascus, would probably held a edge better, and probably this would have. We have steels now that hold really, really good edges. Anyway, after they pound this out, and then they have to etch it with some sort of acid to get the colors and the lines to come out. And it makes a really pretty knife sheath. But I made this knife. This one needs to be sharpened, is what I was going to do today. And it's got a pretty flat edge on it. It's going to need some file work. So I'm going to work on that. Grab you a cup of coffee. Stick with me. We're going to put an edge on this. And then we're going to shoot some of the loads that I make. Well, this is some pretty tough steel. I've been working a bevel on. It didn't have a bevel at all. So I'm working a bevel on it with a file, and then once I get a bevel where the two edges are coming together, I'll bring it over there and put it on. I've got a stone on the bench there. This knife doesn't have, for a finger guard, it's just got this little half circle here. So I'm not making the edge come all the way there. In case guy's finger slips off of that, it won't be sharp. This is, I didn't make this knife for myself. Oh, I wanted to tell you guys too, and I'll put it on the screen. I have a email address for if any of you guys want to send me a more private message. It's buckskin.dave@yahoo.com. I'll put it on the screen, and I don't make these for myself. So if you're interested in more information on any of this stuff, email me. So I got a medium fine stone here. A little bit of oil on there. I've got it. I got a bevel where it's coming together now. I just pretty much just got to polish that edge. Try to keep the same bevel. Oh yeah, this stuff's going to come. This Damascus does make a nice edge, that's for sure. You can feel where it's polishing the file marks out. That's exactly what I want to do. There's a couple places it's skipping over where the angle isn't just perfect yet, but it's getting there. So, seems like it's okay, but I'll tell you, and I'm sure there's better quality Damascus. This wasn't a high quality blade. I'm sure there's better quality Damascus out there. This got a great edge on it now. I'm sure it'd go good for whatever you were going to use this knife for. But it also is easy to finish out. And so that makes me wonder how long the edge will last. Personally, I like a knife that does go dull a little bit as you're using it, and you have to kind of touch it up every once in a while when you're working on something, because it keeps it sharp. When you're skinning an animal, you want a good sharp blade, and if you got to do a lick or two, I don't know, that doesn't bother me that much. So it's better than having some knives that are really, really sharp and they go through a couple of animals. And then when you sharpen them, they're really hard to sharpen. You have to have a diamond stone. And those are nice knives too. So anyway, that one's ready for something. Well, that's one thing nice being able to put a load together and then come out, and I'm going to dump it into my bullet trap over there. Let's see what this powder is doing. That was 1729. So That's pretty good. Pretty much the same as that other powder that we did last time, 5744. So it's nice to have options. That was 1836. No real signs of excessive pressure. The primer is still rounded all the way around. So 1836, that ain't bad. 266 grain, 264 grain. Well, I don't know how well you can see that target up there. I'm gonna give this thing a try with offhand. That's not a very big target. It's probably 100 yards. Not like it hit to me. Pretty much in the center of that target out there. Well, anyway, I'm going to sit here and load some more. If any of you guys, I don't know much about Damascus and stuff, just what I've read and did a little bit of research. If any of you guys up there have any more information on it, or something that I didn't present or know about, put it in the comments. Let all the other viewers know what you know. I mean, that's part of the idea here. I'm going to continue fiddling around with this load and go from there. So that's all I got for you this time. It kind of got a little cold on me for shooting out there. Yeah, so I kind of got out of there. Holding that metal, yeah, you got chilly. Anyway, that's it for this time. Stop back next time, and we'll have a cup of coffee again, and hopefully it'll be a little warmer and we'll do a little more shooting. Bye-bye.